This episode opens with the gravely injured Commander Loba. Despite a profusely bleeding hand wound, his resolve remains unbroken. Meanwhile, at Ralto Castle, Vam is in the midst of a perilous attempt to extract Commander Loba's wife. Their escape plan seems compromised, with soldiers in a panicked frenzy throughout the castle. The situation is further complicated by the fact that she's in labor. Even the slightest noise could betray their presence. Just as capture seems inevitable, they manage a last-minute escape. Loba's wife, finally able to breathe freely, lets out a sigh of relief. Van offers comforting words, assuring her safe passage back to her family. The narrative then cuts to Earth, where his soldiers have triumphantly reached the forest. Their resilience and faith in their command have proven invaluable, with Ars receiving the accolades. Commander Lumia extends his personal gratitude for Ars's leadership. Ritz then approaches Ars with news. The enemy commander has deduced their retreat was a feint and may not give chase. Russell, however, offers a counterpoint, arguing a pursuit is highly likely. He urges the immediate implementation of the plan he formulated with Miri. At the enemy encampment, the commander issues a surprising order: return to the castle. The soldiers, weary from the long march, express their confusion. He explains that venturing into the forest would be playing directly into the enemy's hands. One soldier protests, highlighting their decimation of a significant portion of the opposing force, arguing that even a trap could be overcome. The commander stands firm, asserting that they've inflicted sufficient casualties and cannot risk an ambush. He advocates for a castle siege rather than a continued assault and potentially needless losses. Despite his orders, a handful of soldiers defy him and head towards the forest. Others quickly follow, disregarding Lord Jan's command. Witnessing this disobedience, Jan decides to let them go, reasoning that the loyal troops shouldn't jeopardize their safety for these reckless individuals. However, Jan's lieutenant also disobeys, pursuing the deserters, prompting the rest of the army, including Jan himself, to follow. We then find Miri cleverly disguised amongst the enemy ranks. Her plan appears to be unfolding successfully. It's revealed that a complex strategy was devised prior to the engagement. Miri and a select group infiltrated the enemy lines, adopting their uniform. Amidst the earlier chaos, they pilfered enemy armor to further their disguise. When the enemy regrouped and advanced, they triggered the pursuit at the opportune moment. Russell elucidates the details, leaving everyone impressed by its ingenuity. The troops marvel at Russell's tactical brilliance, labeling it a masterstroke. Next, we join the mercenary army under Commander Hammond, who is exhilarated by RSE's valor. He instructs his soldiers to rest, assuring them his forces will handle the remaining objectives. As the enemy soldiers enter the forest, they are ensnared by the traps laid by Commander Hammond and his troops. Hammond's forces spring their ambush, systematically eliminating the enemy. Their superior strength is evident as the enemy attempts a hasty retreat, only to find themselves completely encircled. Mary and Charlotte emerge victorious, having completed their mission. The Common Squad continues to decimate the enemy with exceptional efficiency, a testament to their status as members of the renowned Matreo Squad. The scene shifts to the formidable enemy knight commander retreating with his forces. Some of Mitrao's soldiers attempt to intercept him, but he dispatches them with a single, devastating blow. He now sets his sights on Ars and his team. Eretz springs into action, targeting the knight commander's horse, sending him crashing to the earth. The question of the episode: who will prevail in this duel, the enemy knight commander or Ritz? Pause the video and share your predictions in the comments. The battle commences, with both combatants demonstrating remarkable power. Ars provides commentary, noting that Ritz boasts a skill rating of 89 and A-grade infantry proficiency. His adversary, however, possesses identical stats. Ritz parries Dan's powerful attacks, but Dan taunts him, highlighting his troops' superior range and weaponry. Ritz continues his strategic withdrawal, using the cover of a tree. Kimiri recognizes Ritz's tactic, feigning weakness to lure Dan into a trap. Ritz exploits the opportunity, utilizing the tree to his advantage, and vanquishes Dan. His victory is attributed not only to strength, but also his astute battlefield analysis and tactical acumen. Following his triumph, Ritz and his team apprehend Dan. Defeated, Dan asks for a swift end, but Ritz declines. He cannot condone Dan's attack on Ars, but acknowledges the lessons to be learned from his strength. Suddenly, General Jan intervenes with his forces to rescue Dan. Clement orders Jan to stand down, but Jan ignores him, launching a ferocious assault. Clement retaliates, but Jan's counterattack sends him flying, leaving everyone astonished by his raw power. With Jan momentarily vulnerable, the team quickly captures him. The remaining enemy soldiers, enraged by their general's defeat, prepare to fight back. Clement's intimidating challenge causes forces them to drop their weapons in fear. Ritz commands the remaining soldiers to surrender, offering clemency to any survivor. Ars addresses his troops, acknowledging the enemy's prowess and the precarious strategic position they faced. He commends their professionalism and tenacity, declaring their hard-fought victory. Meanwhile, consumed by the shame of his defeat, Dan attempts to take his own life. Jan intervenes just in time, preventing the suicide. Furious Dan berates Jan for saving him. Jan explains he could have abandoned Dan during the enemy's pursuit, but couldn't forsake their shared history and the memory of a simple act of kindness, a bowl of soup shared in their youth. Moved by Jan's tears, Dan relents, discarding his weapon, and asks him to stop crying, promising they'll return home together when the conflict ends. Ars approaches Lord Loba to discuss their plans for the captured enemy soldiers and general. He explains their intention to transport the prisoners to Simular. Loba expresses his gratitude for Ars's role in securing the victory. Ars, in turn, credits VM with saving Loba's wife. Suddenly, Loba collapses, succumbing to his injury. Ars calls for a medic, questioning why Loba downplayed the severity of his wound. Loba admits he hid the truth to maintain morale. The doctor arrives and stems the bleeding, but cautions that if Loba loses consciousness, he may not awaken. Unfazed, Loba accepts his fate without regret. Ars tries to reassure him, urging him to stay calm and rest. Loba then inquires about Ars's dream. Ars shares his vision of a peaceful future, a simple life with his child and dog, playing in the garden alongside his smiling wife. He explains that this vision fuels his fight and leaves him without regret. Ars vows to make this peaceful world a reality. Loba reflects on his own life, a life dominated by constant warfare. He believed he was destined for a world of conflict until Maria showed him a different path. Even the smallest pleasures held meaning with her, and her presence was enough. He now sees her as his guiding star. As Loba speaks, Maria appears, tears of relief streaming down her face. Loba awakens, embraces her, overjoyed by her safety. Vam approaches, cradling Maria's newborn, and announces with a grin, "This is my first delivery." The moment provides a flicker of hope and gratitude amidst the surrounding turmoil. Loba holds his newborn child, overcome with emotion. He expresses his profound gratitude to Ars. Ars humbly replies, "It's not a bad outcome if this is what we see in the end." The scene transitions to the soldiers burying their fallen comrades. Standing amongst them, Ars reflects, this was their most brutal battle yet. He believes their perseverance in the face of extreme danger has forged them into a stronger unit. However, he acknowledges the heavy price paid for this victory. He recognizes that every life lost, friend or foe, represents grieving families and cherished causes. He emphasizes the importance of honoring these sacrifices by striving for a better future. Even as adversaries, he believes they share a common desire for peace and protection of what they hold dear. He vows to continue fighting until this shared vision is realized. Later, we find Ars alone in his tent, writing. Ritz enters and inquires about his solitary activity. Ars explains he's composing letters to the families of the fallen soldier, acknowledging their loved ones who will never see them again. He wants to convey their bravery and the circumstances of their death. Tears well up as he remembers his fallen comrades, the shared laughter and hardships. He considers them family. He attempted a fitting eulogy, but fears his father would be disappointed by his emotional display. Touched by his words, Ritz offers his assistance with the letter. Ars accepts, and they work on the letters together. Meanwhile, Russell asks Charlotte about Ritz and Ars. She simply replies, "Let's leave them be for now."